Some major breaking news just into us with former President Donald Trump now facing new charges in the special counsel's investigation into those classified documents found at Mar-a-Lago. We are getting some significant new information from what's being called a superseding indictment, essentially additional information that the special counsel's office is now revealing. And it is new insight here into what specifically is being alleged related to what you just heard Laura and Lester and Danny and our team talking about. And that is the allegation that Carlos de Oliveira, identified as a property manager, a kind of maintenance worker at Mar-a-Lago, along with Walt Nada, Mr. Trump's body man, and Mr. Trump himself, tried to delete surveillance footage at Mar-a-Lago in the summer of 2022. I want to bring in NBC News correspondent Tom Winter, who's covering this, and our NBC News legal analyst, Kristen Kibben-Feddens. And Tom, I want to share with our audience something that is revealed in this indictment. This indictment alleges that Carlos de Oliveira talked to a different Trump employee after telling this employee, and this is that their conversation should remain just between the two of them, that, and I'm quoting here, that, quote unquote, the boss wanted the server deleted.
Hey friends, John here. So this is happening right now. Trump allegedly tried to erase Mar-a-Lago security footage to cover up wrongdoing, but the attempt failed, and the footage is now the crown jewel of federal prosecutors' case against him. The cover-up didn't just fail, it made his legal problems infinitely worse, turning the attempt to destroy evidence into the most damaging evidence of all. Now, let's rewind a bit and set the stage properly. We're talking about the kind of political drama that only seems to happen in America's most turbulent moments. Remember when Nancy Pelosi, the Democratic House Speaker, announced she was ready to move forward with drafting articles of impeachment? She stood there with confidence and humility, talking about allegiance to the founders and love for America, and she asked her chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment against the president. That was the moment when everything started to shift.
This employee responded he wouldn't know how to do that. He didn't think he would have the rights to do that. That employee said, you're going to have to reach out to somebody else, essentially. And then de Oliveira then, I'm quoting, de Oliveira then insisted to this other employee that the boss wanted the server deleted and asked, what are we going to do? And that is just a piece of the indictment, Tom, that is describing part of this new information that we're just learning this evening.
Yeah, it is really stunning behavior here. And it's not just de Oliveira and Nada that are tied up in this. De Oliveira is being charged alongside the former president. And they specifically say that Trump was involved in this effort to delete this particular server. To your point, Hallie, apparently this occurred on June 27th at 9:48 a.m. De Oliveira walked into the IT office where an unnamed Trump employee was working with somebody in the IT department. De Oliveira requested that he step away. They went into some sort of an audio closet, and once inside that space, he told them that the conversation needed to stay between the two of them, and that the boss, as you said, wanted the server deleted, and that's believed to be...
That was the moment when the political landscape began to transform in ways nobody could have predicted. But what we're dealing with now makes that whole impeachment saga look like a warm-up act. Think about this for just a second. Trump wanted something destroyed, something that could potentially implicate him in serious criminal activity. He couldn't get it destroyed because one person said no. And now that same thing that he couldn't destroy is the centerpiece of the case against him. It's like something out of a crime drama, except this is real life, and the stakes couldn't possibly be higher. According to federal prosecutors and special counsel Jack Smith, a new indictment was filed that adds obstruction and evidence destruction charges to the existing case. This indictment doesn't just make accusations, it lays out specific events in specific detail. Here's what the indictment actually says. It says that Trump ordered workers at Mar-a-Lago to delete security camera footage.
The surveillance camera video, that's according to other sections of this charging document. So it's clear here, and the special counsel says, we're looking at it on screen right now, the back and forth that's contained in these allegations. It's clear here that this occurred shortly after a subpoena was served for this video. This is very damning evidence, Hallie. And looking at this, if there was not such a threat of the clock, if you will, and we were just listening to our colleague Laura Jarrett talk about it, the idea that there's an effort to get this trial moving because of the election deadline in 2024. If you were looking at this and it didn't involve Donald Trump, it involved three people we hadn't heard about before, I think they would be saying uncle at this point, because the level of detail and evidence that they have appears to be growing stronger by the day. And the question now is, whether De Oliveira and Nauta decide that their lives would be better working with the special counsel's office than being charged by it. I'm not somebody, and you know this over the last 8-9 years that we've talked and worked together, I'm not somebody who's always focused on, oh, who's going to flip, who's going to cooperate.
Not suggested, not hinted at, not implied, ordered, directly ordered. The indictment specifically names Trump's valet Walt Nauta and property manager Carlos de Oliveira as key players in this alleged scheme. These two individuals, according to the indictment, approached the IT staff and asked them to wipe the server clean. They told the IT worker that the boss, meaning Trump, wanted the server deleted. They wanted that footage gone. They wanted that evidence erased. This wasn't some vague suggestion or casual conversation. This was a direct order to destroy evidence, plain and simple. But here's the thing that makes this story truly remarkable. The IT worker refused to go along with it. Let that sink in for a moment.
But I think in this particular instance, you're looking at somebody who might be motivated, and it's clear that they have other people that are talking to them. That's the special counsel's office. It's clear they have other people relaying these conversations, and they're putting a lot of weight on them here. These are pretty significant additional charges to this case.
There's also a sort of an intriguing breadcrumb that is dropped in this indictment, and I haven't finished the whole thing as we've been live on the air, Tom, but on June 23rd last summer in the evening, this indictment specifically states that Donald Trump then at some point called Carlos de Oliveira, they say 8:45 at night, and they spoke for about a half an hour. That is roughly 4 days before this conversation inside, as you described, the sort of quiet, private conversation that De Oliveira wanted to have with another employee about the boss wanting the server to be deleted. It seems as though the special counsel, the prosecutors here, are trying to draw a linkage, right? Throw down some breadcrumbs, pull that needle, thread that through.
Oh, 100%. And they clearly have De Oliveira's phone records because they have records of Trump calling De Oliveira at 3:55 on the date of, I just want to make sure I'm accurate here, on June 27th. So they have the phone conversations between Trump and De Oliveira. And so I think that that's significant that they had that level of a phone conversation.
This employee, someone who probably never expected to be at the center of a federal criminal investigation, looked at these powerful people and said no. He told them he didn't know how to delete the server. He told them he didn't think he had the rights to do it anyway. Whether that was true or just a convenient excuse, the result was the same. The footage wasn't deleted. The server wasn't wiped. The evidence wasn't erased. The very thing Trump allegedly wanted destroyed survived intact and was eventually turned over to federal investigators. And now that footage is at the heart of multiple obstruction and evidence destruction charges that Trump is facing. One person's decision to say no just became the most important moment in this entire case. Think about that for a second. One IT worker, probably just doing his job, probably not trying to be a hero, stood up and refused to participate in what he knew was wrong. That moment of integrity literally changed the trajectory of this entire investigation. It's absolutely wild because this shows exactly how the whole thing went down. It shows the mindset. It shows the consciousness of guilt. It shows that Trump knew the feds were investigating. It shows that Trump knew there was evidence the government wanted. It shows that Trump tried to make that evidence disappear. And it shows that when Trump couldn't make it disappear, he had to face the legal consequences of trying to make it disappear. Now let's really think about what that means in practical terms. Trump didn't just allegedly break the law. Trump also tried to cover it up. In the video itself, the footage that Trump allegedly tried to delete, it shows Trump employees moving dozens and dozens of boxes of classified government documents. It shows them moving boxes in and out of storage rooms. It shows the movement and handling of documents after federal investigators specifically asked for those records. It shows evidence of concealment. It shows evidence of obstruction. It shows evidence that documents were being moved and hidden from the feds. This isn't some accidental mistake or misunderstanding. This is deliberate movement of documents after the government said we need to see them. Prosecutors are going to show jurors the video. They're going to show the footage that Trump tried to erase. And that footage is going to show exactly what Trump was trying to hide. That footage is going to show the boxes being moved. That footage is going to show the attempts to conceal classified documents. That footage is going to show consciousness of guilt. And jurors are going to see it all because that IT worker refused to delete it. Imagine if that IT worker had gone along with the request. The evidence would be gone, but he said no. This is one of the most spectacularly stupid cover-up attempts in history. Trump tried to erase the evidence. The evidence still exists. The evidence is now the centerpiece of the prosecution's case. Trump's attempt to destroy evidence became the evidence of the crime. It's almost like Trump created the very evidence prosecutors needed to convict him. Trump handed them the obstruction case on a silver platter, and Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, is out there saying, "Oh, this is rich." She's claiming that Trump could have destroyed the footage if he wanted to, but he didn't. Yeah. Right. Trump tried to have it destroyed. That's literally what the indictment says. That's literally what the evidence shows. Trump tried to destroy it and he failed. And now that failed destruction attempt is destroying his legal defense. Here's the insane part that makes this whole thing even more unbelievable. Trump himself used to talk about how people who destroy evidence should go to jail. He would get on camera and talk about how serious evidence destruction is. He would talk about how wrong it is to destroy evidence. He would talk about how people who hide evidence should face consequences. And now, years later, Trump is facing charges for trying to destroy evidence. Prosecutors are going to show old clips of Trump ranting about evidence destruction, and then prosecutors are going to show that Trump tried to do exactly that. It's absolutely devastating for Trump's credibility. It's absolutely devastating for Trump's defense. The man who said criminals should face consequences for destroying evidence is now the criminal facing those consequences. Let's break this down and understand what the indictment actually says and what it means, and why this is so devastating for Trump legally. This isn't just about boxes. This isn't just about classified documents. This is about a deliberate, intentional attempt to obstruct justice and to destroy evidence after the government made clear that they wanted that evidence. The timing is crucial here. The government asked for the evidence, and then Trump allegedly tried to destroy it. That's not a mistake. That's a calculated response. The indictment from Jack Smith, the special counsel, adds new counts. It adds obstruction charges. It adds evidence destruction charges. It names Nauta and De Oliveira as co-defendants. And according to the indictment, after the Department of Justice subpoenaed the security footage, after the government made clear they wanted to see the video, Trump allegedly told his people to delete it. This is the key element that prosecutors need to prove. They need to show that Trump knew the government wanted it and then tried to destroy it. De Oliveira allegedly told the Mar-a-Lago IT worker that the boss wanted the server deleted. The IT worker asked him, how do I delete the server? What are we talking about? And De Oliveira kept asking questions like, how long does the footage stay on the server? How often do you delete it? When can we delete it? The whole conversation was about finding a way to get rid of the evidence. This wasn't some casual chat. This was a coordinated effort to figure out how to destroy something. These are the exact kinds of conversations that prosecutors are going to play for jurors. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is the part that prosecutors are going to hammer home to a jury. The IT worker said no. He said he didn't know how to delete it. He said he didn't have the technical knowledge. He said he didn't have the authorization to do it. He said, I can't do this. So he refused. He pushed back. He said, no, we're not deleting this server. That took courage. That took integrity. That took someone willing to say no when powerful people were asking him to do something illegal. This IT worker is now a hero in the prosecution's case. And because that IT worker refused, because he had the integrity to say no, the footage survived. The evidence was preserved. The very thing Trump wanted destroyed still exists, is documented, is preserved, is available for prosecutors to show to a jury. And that's going to be absolutely devastating in court because now prosecutors have this beautiful narrative. They have a direct line of evidence showing that Trump knew the government wanted this footage. Trump knew it was evidence. Trump tried to get it destroyed. And when he couldn't get it destroyed, Trump had to live with the consequences. The prosecutors don't have to speculate. They have the exact conversations. They have the evidence. They have everything they need. The video itself shows exactly what prosecutors want jurors to see. It shows Trump employees moving boxes of documents, dozens and dozens of boxes in and out of storage rooms, after the government asked for records, after investigators made clear they wanted to see what was in those storage areas. The movement happened anyway. The documents were being handled and moved and relocated, and all of it is on video. Jurors are going to watch this and understand immediately that documents were being concealed. They're not going to need complicated legal explanations. They're going to see the evidence with their own eyes. Trump's defense has basically already collapsed. His lawyer Habba is saying, oh, Trump could have destroyed the footage if he wanted to, but he didn't. But that's not what the indictment says. The indictment says Trump tried to have it destroyed. Trump ordered it destroyed. Trump had his people attempt to destroy it. The only reason it wasn't destroyed is because one IT worker said no. That's not cooperation. That's not the behavior of an innocent person. That's the behavior of someone trying to cover up and who failed. The defense is already finished before the trial even starts. Now, this creates a pattern that prosecutors are going to exploit mercilessly. This isn't the first time Trump has been associated with destroying documents. Trump was famous, like literally famous, for ripping up papers when he was president. Trump would tear up documents. Trump would destroy records. Trump would throw documents away. Trump would deny that he was even doing it. And now, all these years later, Trump is facing federal charges for allegedly trying to destroy digital evidence. The pattern has been there all along, and now prosecutors are going to connect all the dots. The National Security Archive and government watchdog groups have documented Trump's history of destroying presidential records. They documented the shredding. They documented the document destruction. They documented Trump removing boxes of records to Mar-a-Lago. And they asked federal authorities to investigate whether Trump violated federal law by destroying government documents. Federal law says you can't destroy federal records. It's a crime, and Trump has a long history of doing exactly that. These aren't accusations from political enemies. These are well-documented facts from archive organizations and watchdog groups. So now you've got prosecutors presenting a pattern. You've got Trump's long history of destroying documents. You've got Trump's history of tearing up papers. You've got Trump trying to delete security footage. You've got Trump allegedly ordering the erasure of evidence. And you've got all of that happening after the government made clear they wanted to see those documents and that footage. Prosecutors are going to present this as a pattern of intentional obstruction and evidence destruction, not as an accident, not as a misunderstanding, but as deliberate crime. This isn't some isolated incident. This is a pattern of behavior, and patterns matter to jurors. Trump's defense team knows this is bad. They know this is really bad because this isn't a technical argument about whether something was classified. This isn't an argument about whether Trump had the right to take documents. This is straightforward. Did Trump try to destroy evidence? Did Trump obstruct justice? And the answer, according to the indictment, is yes. There's no legal technicality that gets Trump out of this. There's no argument about presidential powers. This is a simple yes or no question, and the evidence says yes. The indictment says Trump knew the government was investigating. Trump knew they wanted the documents. Trump knew they wanted the footage. And Trump tried to make the evidence disappear anyway. That's consciousness of guilt. That's knowledge of wrongdoing. That's the behavior of someone who knows they're in trouble and is trying to hide the evidence. And jurors understand that. Jurors know that innocent people don't try to destroy evidence. Innocent people cooperate. Innocent people say, here are all the documents. But Trump tried the opposite. Trump tried to hide and destroy. Now let's talk about what prosecutors are actually going to do with this video footage, because this is where it gets really bad for Trump. Like, seriously, this is devastating stuff. Prosecutors are going to show the jury the video. They're going to show the footage that Trump allegedly tried to delete. And they're going to say, here's the evidence that Trump was trying to hide. Here's what Trump wanted erased. Here's what made Trump so desperate that he tried to destroy evidence. The jury doesn't have to use imagination. They're going to see it with their own eyes. The video shows boxes of documents being moved around Mar-a-Lago. Dozens and dozens of boxes in and out of storage areas. After the government made clear it wanted to see those records, after the government issued subpoenas, after the government said we need access to what you have, the movement continued. The boxes kept being moved. The documents kept being relocated. Trump's people kept trying to hide them, and all of it is on video. This is going to be the most powerful piece of evidence in the trial. Prosecutors are going to put this video in front of jurors and say, does this look like cooperation? Does this look like a president who is following the law? Does this look like someone who is complying with the government demand? Or does this look like someone who is trying to hide evidence? Jurors are going to watch that video and understand exactly what they're seeing. They're going to understand that Trump was trying to hide something. They're going to understand that Trump knew he had a problem. And they're going to understand that Trump tried to make the evidence disappear. No legal argument needed. And then prosecutors are going to introduce the evidence that Trump tried to delete the footage. Prosecutors are going to show the testimony from the IT worker. Prosecutors are going to show the conversations where Nauta and De Oliveira told the IT worker to delete the server. Prosecutors are going to show that this wasn't accidental. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a deliberate attempt to obstruct justice and destroy evidence. The case is going to unfold perfectly for the prosecution. Trump's defense can't explain that away. Trump's defense can't say, oh, we didn't really try to delete it, because the indictment shows that Trump tried. The indictment shows that Trump ordered it. The indictment shows that Trump had his people attempt to carry out the order. The only thing that saved the evidence is that one IT worker refused. That's not a defense. That's an admission of guilt. The attempted crime is still a crime even if it fails. So here's what this all means. Here's why this matters. And here's what's coming next. Because this video destruction attempt is going to be absolutely central to Trump's legal case. Everything hinges on this footage. Everything depends on what jurors see and understand about Trump's attempted destruction of evidence. First, the obstruction charges are serious, really serious, sometimes more serious than the underlying crime. Trump could be acquitted on the classified documents charges. But if Trump is convicted on obstruction charges, if a jury decides that Trump intentionally tried to destroy evidence, that's a separate crime. That's additional prison time. That's additional liability. Obstruction charges are no joke. Prosecutors treat them seriously, judges take them seriously, and jurors understand their importance. This is about covering up. This is about lying. This is about knowing you did something wrong and trying to hide it. Prosecutors always, and I mean always, take obstruction seriously. Juries take it seriously because obstruction is about lying. It's about hiding. It's about knowing you did something wrong and trying to cover it up. When a jury sees that behavior, when a jury sees evidence of obstruction, they tend to convict because it shows consciousness of guilt. It shows a cover-up. It shows that the defendant knew something was wrong. Obstruction convictions are some of the easiest for prosecutors to secure because juries understand the behavior immediately. Second, Trump has been actively arguing against himself. Trump used to say back in the day that people who destroy evidence should go to jail. Trump was on camera saying this. Trump was publicly saying that evidence destruction was a crime that deserved punishment. And now, years later, Trump is facing charges for trying to destroy evidence. Prosecutors are showing old clips of Trump saying that evidence destruction should be punished. And then prosecutors are showing that Trump tried to destroy evidence. It's devastating for Trump's credibility. It's absolutely devastating for Trump's defense. The man who demanded punishment for evidence destruction is now facing those exact punishments. Third, the broader pattern is going to hurt Trump because this isn't the first time Trump has been associated with evidence issues. Federal judges have already been concerned about this administration's handling of evidence. There was a separate federal case involving a Minnesota protester shooting where a judge ordered the Trump administration not to destroy or alter evidence. The judge had to make that order because there were concerns that federal agents were removing and altering evidence from the scene. Courts are already suspicious of this administration's evidence practices. This history is going to color everything in this trial, and that's going to color how jurors see this. When prosecutors present evidence that Trump tried to delete security footage, jurors are already going to be primed to believe it because there's a pattern. There's a history. There's evidence that Trump and his people have been careless with evidence or have tried to destroy it before. This video destruction attempt is going to fit into a narrative of obstruction and evidence destruction that's been building for years. The pieces are going to come together for jurors in a way that's absolutely devastating for Trump. Trump is facing multiple obstruction charges related to this footage. Trump is facing evidence destruction charges. Trump is facing charges related to his handling of classified documents. And all of these charges are going to be tried together or in sequence. In every single trial, prosecutors are going to show the jury that security footage. Prosecutors are going to show the jury the video that Trump tried to delete. Prosecutors are going to argue that this footage proves that Trump knew he had a problem and tried to cover it up. The evidence is going to dominate the trial, and Trump's defense is basically gone. Haba can say, oh, Trump didn't actually destroy anything. But that's not the defense. The defense can't be that Trump didn't destroy it. The indictment isn't charging Trump with destroying it. The indictment is charging Trump with trying to have it destroyed, with ordering it destroyed, with directing his people to destroy it. Those are the charges. Trump can't escape those charges by saying, well, it didn't get destroyed. Because the crime is the attempt. The crime is the obstruction. The crime is the cover-up. It doesn't matter if the cover-up succeeded or failed. The attempt is the crime. Trump is in serious legal trouble here. This video destruction attempt is going to be at the center of the case. This is going to be the thing that prosecutors emphasize over and over and over. This is the evidence that Trump tried to hide. This is the proof of consciousness of guilt. This is the narrative that shows a president who knew he was under investigation and who tried to destroy the evidence anyway. Juries are going to understand this immediately. Juries understand that innocent people don't try to destroy evidence. Innocent people cooperate. Innocent people hand over documents. Innocent people say, "Here's everything you need." But Trump allegedly tried the opposite. Trump allegedly tried to hide. Trump allegedly tried to destroy. And that's going to be devastating in court. This is the kind of behavior that gets people convicted. Trump is now facing not just classified documents charges. Trump is now facing serious obstruction charges. Trump is now facing evidence destruction charges. These are separate crimes. These are charges that prosecutors can pursue independently of the classified documents case. And these charges are serious, like really serious. Obstruction of justice can carry significant prison time. Evidence destruction can carry significant prison time. If Trump is convicted on all of these charges, if a jury decides that Trump tried to destroy evidence, Trump is facing substantial incarceration. The prosecutors know they have a strong case here because they have the video, they have the attempted deletion order, they have the testimony from the IT worker, they have the communications between Nauta and de Oliveira. They have a clear timeline showing that Trump knew the government wanted the footage and tried to have it deleted. Prosecutors are going to present this beautifully to a jury, and Trump's defense team knows this too. They know they're in serious trouble on these charges. They know that a jury is going to look at the evidence and understand that Trump tried to destroy it. They know that the cover-up is almost worse than the original crime. Courts and judges have already been suspicious of this administration's evidence handling. There was that case involving a Minnesota protester shooting where a federal judge had to issue an order specifically prohibiting the Trump administration from destroying or altering evidence. The judge had to make that order because federal agents were allegedly removing evidence from the scene. Courts are already wary of Trump and Trump's people when it comes to evidence. This history is going to be front and center in Trump's trial. When prosecutors present this case about Trump trying to delete the Mar-a-Lago footage, judges are already going to be primed to believe it. Judges are already going to be suspicious of Trump's handling of evidence. Judges are already going to assume the worst about Trump's intentions. That's really bad for Trump because now Trump is trying to defend against evidence destruction charges in front of judges who already don't trust Trump with evidence. The deck is already stacked against Trump before the trial even begins. This video erasure attempt is absolutely devastating for Trump. This is the centerpiece of the prosecution's case. This is the thing that prosecutors are going to hammer on over and over. This is the evidence that Trump tried to hide. This is the proof of consciousness of guilt. And it's all because one IT worker had the integrity to say no when he was told to delete the server. That moment of integrity is going to define this entire case. Think about what this all means in the broader context of Trump's legal troubles. Trump is facing multiple federal criminal cases. Trump is facing state criminal cases. Trump is facing hundreds of felony charges across different jurisdictions. Now, on top of all of that, Trump is facing serious obstruction and evidence destruction charges. These aren't minor charges. These aren't technical violations. These are serious federal crimes that carry significant prison time. The weight of all these cases is enormous. Prosecutors are going to love this case because it's so straightforward. There's no complicated legal argument. There's no technical dispute about what constitutes a crime. It's simple. Trump allegedly tried to destroy evidence. The evidence still exists, and now prosecutors are using it against Trump. It's clean. It's clear. And it's absolutely devastating. The case writes itself. This case is going to go to trial. Trump's defense team is going to try to defend against these charges, but they're going to have a very difficult time because the evidence is so strong. Prosecutors are going to show the jury the video. Prosecutors are going to show the attempts to delete the footage, and jurors are going to understand exactly what they're looking at. If Trump is convicted, Trump could face serious prison time on these obstruction and evidence destruction charges alone. Just on these obstruction charges, Trump could be facing years in federal prison. That's a real possibility that Trump and Trump's lawyers have to be thinking about. This video eraser attempt, this failed cover-up, this is absolutely the most important piece of evidence in Trump's entire legal case. This is the thing that prosecutors prosecutors needed to prove that Trump was obstructing justice. Trump handed prosecutors the case they needed to convict Trump on obstruction charges. It's absolutely remarkable how badly Trump's own actions have backfired. The man who thought he could make evidence disappear by simply ordering it gone is now facing the consequences of that failed order. The evidence survived, the footage survived, the truth survived. And now the truth is going to be presented to a jury in all its damning glory.